Alright everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be discussing two very popular travel YouTubers, Kara and Nate, who recently in the beginning of this year bought a Mercedes van that's been converted to a camper. As those of you that have watched their channel know that they've had several issues and problems with that van. So today I'm going to compare their van to my commercially built van, and we're going to talk about some of the issues and things that are wrong with their van. So let's step inside and have a little talk. That's the good stuff. Go ahead and grab you a nice hot cup of coffee. Let's sit down and go ahead and enjoy this video. So let me start out by saying I don't know Kara and Nate personally. I'm like a lot of you, I'm just a fan of the channel. I've been watching them probably since they had 20,000 subscribers, maybe a little bit less. Me and my wife were going to Russia, and I was trying to find some information, stuff that I wanted to see, so that's when I stumbled across their channel. And I love the way that they kind of just fumbled around everything, and that they kind of had that innocent way about them. So I've been hooked on the channel ever since. And funny thing is, my wife is actually from Russia, so you would think I wouldn't need all that, but she wasn't that familiar with Moscow so much. She didn't grow up in that area, so there's a lot of parts that I wanted to see. So yeah, so I found their channel and it's been entertaining ever since. So yeah, I don't know them, I've never seen their van in person, but owning a motorhome, being very mechanical in nature, I have several cars that I've worked on this channel, stuff like that. I do know my way around the thing. So I'm going to compare what you can buy or how they come equipped commercially versus how they did it. Now, everything in this vehicle you can buy. You can build a Sprinter van, anything you want with all the parts that are in here. And I think that's the major problem that they've run into with their van, is that the people that built it didn't really have a lot of experience. Now, on their channel, they did a video, their van almost caught fire, and a lot of people started throwing some hate towards the two people that built the van. Now, please don't ever do that. It can get the YouTubers in trouble, because if they make a comment, we're not supposed to direct negative stuff towards people or other YouTubers, stuff like that. So please don't ever do that. You know, as a YouTuber and a creator, we share our lives, the good parts, the bad parts, and stuff like that. So you're along for the ride, so just take it like that. You know, please don't ever approach a company, a place, or a person, specifically if a YouTuber has a bad experience with that, okay? So the number one thing Kara and Nate did wrong when they bought that van was not having an inspection. There are people that specialize in RV inspections. If they would have maybe done a little due diligence or whatever like that, they would have maybe found this out, or maybe they were aware. Like I said, I don't know. But they really should have went through an inspection. An inspector would have found all that. Now, me and my wife, we bought this RV brand new. Brand new. We special ordered it. It was shipped to the dealer the day it arrived. The next morning, I had an inspector go through this vehicle, even though it was brand new, and it was a good thing. They found a couple of problems wrong. This one has heaters on the tanks that are underneath. One of the heaters fell off. He found some issues with some sealant up on the roof. Can't really remember. He wasn't happy with the way the batteries were strapped in, which I didn't really care about, because I've upgraded this to a lithium and solar, kind of like what they have. So, yeah, I found a few problems, but I felt so much better having somebody that knew more about the RVs go through and make sure even a factory-built RV was safe. So that was kind of like their fault for not going and getting the inspection done. I love my coffee. Okay, so before I start getting into a lot of stuff that's wrong, understand too that even if you buy a factory-built RV, you could still have problems. You probably will have problems. If you're going to be moving your house down the road, it's likely things are going to shake loose, they're going to break, things are going to happen. So no matter what route you go, there's going to be problems. But I think the biggest problem they have with their RV was just the way certain things were done really don't meet a standard. So and that's some of the stuff I'm going to go over. So to me, one of the biggest problems they have with their RV is lack of climate control, and I'm talking about air conditioning and heat. Now I know recently they've had the heat fixed, but then one of the recent videos I've seen that the heat broke again. I'm not really sure the situation. That's not a traditional RV heater that they have in here. For me, we have a propane tank installed on the side of the vehicle, and right here underneath this fridge is a propane furnace which blows through vents on the floor. So we have heat that way, and then we have a thermostat on, well actually the thermostat works the air conditioning heat. So we have a thermostat in here, works just like your house, looks just like a house thermostat, and we have air conditioning. So we have this unit here that can either dump the air through the vents here, or we even have a system just like in your home that has vents that go all the way around. Now I know in the Sprinter van they won't be able to do that, but they still can very easily install an air conditioning system like this, possibly even a heat pump system so they have more reliable heat. It does take power to run this, and they don't have a generator, but that's really not an issue. Like, this RV does have a built-in onboard generator, but they can easily buy a portable generator, put it out their RV and plug it in and be fine. So that's kind of, to me, one of the problems that they have is no heat and air, no climate control in their vehicle. So to me, I think one of the major problems they have with their RV is just it was thrown together. It was just kind of wired a little bit here and there. Nothing really on, say, like the professional side. Any RV you buy that's been commercially done will have a fuse panel like this right here. And you can buy this. You can go onto any of the RV websites and buy. This is a fuse panel. We have our 110 volt breakers here, and then we have our 12 volt fuses right here, and all the wiring for the vehicle comes from here. So the batteries are wired over to here when you plug in. This one actually has a transfer switch because we have a built-in generator, so that way we don't backfeed generator if we're happen to be plugged in. So there's a transfer switch, then a fuse panel and that, and I won't get too much into this stuff, but they really should have a centralized kind of location like this where everything runs in. Even my solar and inverter are under the couch, and the 110 from my inverter runs back here to that transfer switch that powers this. So everything's been done properly. I have the proper size wire. I've had a lot of car stereo experience, so I'm very familiar with this size of wire and stuff like that. So it really wasn't a problem. But this vehicle did actually come pre-wired for solar. There's a plate on the roof that just simply ran solar wires down to here. So kind of made that much easier. But most of their problem was with the batteries and not having proper size fuses and wires and things like that. So if you buy something commercially built, you're going to have a fuse box, which is something you can add. If you're building a Sprinter van or any of that stuff, you can buy this and put it in there. It does have a built-in battery charger. Now lithium is a whole different chemistry, and I won't get too much into that, but lithium does have a different charging profile than your normal lead acid that these come with. So I had to disconnect that, and I used my inverter, which actually charges the batteries. And we'll go over there next because there's something I want to show you that you need to have when you do lithium. So that teal, blue color, and black box is what's called a DC to DC charger. And what that does is that allows your vehicle's alternator to safely charge your lithium batteries. Now I do believe they've added one. I can't remember 100%, but I think they added one. But if you're going to do lithium and you need your alternator to charge the batteries, you must have that. The charging profile of a lithium battery is so much different than lead acid. You will damage very expensive batteries, so that is something that you're going to need to have. So the good thing for them is that the van is basically a Mercedes or a Dodge, both the same thing. Chassis, it's all built, so there's nothing wrong with the actual vehicle itself. Kind of like what I have here. This is a Chevy Express van, basically like a cutaway. So the front end is all built by Chevy. The frame rails all the way back is all Chevy, so they built the rear end, the brakes, the frame, the transmission, engine, all that stuff's GM. Just this box here was built by Jayco, so my whole underpinnings is all crash tested, safe, stuff like that, made by GM. So as far as that goes, they're pretty good with that. They have all that. Like I said, the major problem with their van is, just the climate control, and really big problem with the wiring. Obviously, the people that built the van didn't have enough knowledge as to gauges of wire and what kind of fuses, things like that. It's all things that need to be taken very, very seriously when you're doing, especially lithium. They can create some tremendous fires. You really don't want to overheat, overcharge, and do stuff. You probably can't see it here, but we have like a solar charge controller. The profile set up for lithium. My inverter is also set up, like I said back there, the fuse box used to have a charger, so when you plugged in the 110, it would automatically send 14 volts or whatever to a lead acid battery and charge it. I had to disconnect that because I don't need that charging the batteries, because my inverter charges it, and the inverter's smart enough where you can program it to what profile battery. So I also had the luxury of, if I'm without solar, I can't run a generator or going down the road, we need it, I can flip a switch, turn that DC to DC charger on, and I can charge off my batteries. It's a great way. So I actually have 4 ways of charging: my alternator, generator, solar, and to be plugged in. I have all those convenient ways of charging my batteries. So now let's talk about storage tanks. Now the water tank seems to be good. It's about the same size I have in here. I have a 40-gallon water tank. Now their big problem is with what we call the gray tanks. They have 2 very small metal boxes with some type of it's like a spigot, some type of faucet type thing or whatever on that thing. They are very small, not placed very well, not placed very convenient at all for draining. So I'm going to go underneath there here, show you what a normal RV system looks like. Now, as far as like the toilet goes, they have a cartridge toilet. So basically they have a bin that catches urine, or there's no other way to say it, and they can dump that in any toilet, and then the number 2, the poo, gets composted, and then that's supposed to break down in a way to where it's safe to throw in the trash. So they don't have to worry about a black tank, is what we call it here in the RV world, because they don't have a black tank. Here on my RV, we do have a black tank, and the only thing that goes into that's the toilet. But I have 2 tanks that combine to one fitting, so when you dump, you empty the black tank and then flush it clean with the gray tank. So it works out pretty good. So let me go underneath and show you what a regular or a proper system should look like. So this is what you're going to see in all RVs, whether it be a pull behind camper, fifth wheels, motorhomes, buses, no matter what, you're going to have this. This is where your sewer connects. Your sewer hose connects here. Then you have 2 valves. One is going to be your black tank. The other is going to be your gray tank. So as you can see here, you have considerably large size piping, and this makes it very easy to discharge. You just simply hook your hose to here, pull a valve, and it comes down. So let me show you here. Here is the gray tank mounted underneath. I know everything's black, it's a little hard to see, but you can kind of see the hose coming here. There you can see the tank heater I talked about that fell off. So there's that, and my black tank is somewhat hidden. It's up above the fuel tank. It's up there, so I really can't show it that easily, but it's up there. But here's the pipe coming from the black tank. It goes way up in here. But yeah, so if you have one that's built commercially, you can add it. And you know what the bad thing is that they can add this. If Winnebago or Jayco, whoever makes a Class B, can add this to a Class B, like what they have, they can do this. Hopefully Nate will take it in, maybe for his own peace of mind or easiness, or Well, whatever. Hopefully, to save himself some aggravation, he'll go ahead and get a real gray tank installed with the proper plumbing, because this is going to make his life so much easier than trying to go in here and drain 2 little 5-gallon tanks. This is about like a 35-gallon tank. It's just slightly smaller than what our freshwater capacity is. Just for fun, look, there's my train horns. Just in case if anybody wants to get dumb and doesn't see me coming down the road somehow, which has happened for some reason, we go ahead and wake them up. I'm going to take a moment and just show you around what the outside of a Class C looks like if you've never seen like a traditional motorhome. So here we have the gas-powered generator. We have miscellaneous storage right here. This right here is actually a hot water heater. Right here is where my power cord, where I plug in at. There's more storage. So this is something pretty cool right here behind this big storage panel. And this is one of the reasons that I got this particular RV is I really like the pass-through storage. It goes all the way through. Nice and roomy, lots of room. Now we also have an outdoor shower, which is good if you want to do a quick rinse off, you've been swimming in the ocean or something, or if you want to wash your dog off. But here's something that's see, we have all these connections right here, and right here where it says sanitize and winterize. If you're going to put this away for the winter and it's cold, there's a way to put this in here, turn the water pump on, and suck kind of basically like an antifreeze into the lines. Now don't worry, it's safe. You don't want to drink it, but it's safe. You put that in there and it won't freeze and you won't bust your lines up. That's something Karen and Nate don't have, but they so hopefully it'll be all right for them. But yeah, that's just one of the other little differences there. We also have right here is a low point drain for draining the fresh water tank if I need to. There are also in one of these, I believe, yeah, it's this one right here. In this storage bin, there's a low point drain for like the hot water heater and all that. Some of the other lines, or for draining the lines, and the hot and cold lines will drain. And there's 2 spigots underneath the RV that we have a ladder to access the roof, which I'll give you a look. So I actually installed these 2 vent covers, and I also put a fantastic fan in here, and you can see my 3 solar panels, and then right here with the air conditioning, TV antenna. This is the other storage. More storage right here. More storage. This is where our furnace is. The exhaust exits out here. And this is the venting for the refrigerator. Here's the propane tank I mentioned. Right here. It's a big steel DOT tank. And then more storage right here. Some outside speakers and an awning. Alright, so that's going to go ahead and conclude my video. I really hope Karen and Nate get to watch this. I'd really love to hear from them, chime in, see if I missed anything. Let me know your thoughts on exactly if I hit everything, hit the nail on the head with your vehicle there. Now understand too, like I know they mentioned a few things with like their bedding situation in the back, having to take down and tear down that stuff. That's really kind of a common thing with the Class B motorhome like that. You're so confined on space that you have to do that with the bed in order to make it a place for you to sit down. That's just the space confinements. That's one of the reasons that I bought a Class C, because I didn't feel like going that. I paid a price a little bit in gas in the long run, but these are cheaper to buy than the vans, which is probably one of the reasons that they bought a pre-done conversion van. If you were to buy a professionally made Class B, they're over 100,000. You're probably looking at 130 to 160 pretty easy. So I mean, I really liked that size and that profile of the thing, but there were things like the wet bathroom and that I know not all of them have, but things like that I really wasn't willing to deal with. I really didn't want to take my bed apart every day, so I went with the slightly larger vehicle in the Class C. So there you go. I know a lot of people watching their videos probably aren't into camping or motorhomes, and it kind of shows, I think, some of the comments that people don't understand how these work. So it's the reason I made a video, try to inform people from another camper's perspective of what's going on with their vehicles. Hopefully you found this entertaining. If you're looking to get into this, hopefully you learned a few things. Definitely recommend you do your homework, get an inspection. Whether you're buying brand new or used, it's going to pay for itself in the long run, I promise. So if you find this interesting, if you like camping, like Karen and Nate, me and my wife, we're going to go out full time here in a couple of years. We're just trying to get a few things situated. We have a couple of new cars we're going to pay off, and then we're going to hit the road. I'm a retired Army veteran. My wife's originally from Russia. She works currently right now. I served the country. I drove over the road for a year. There's a lot of this country I want to see. Her being an immigrant, coming here, there's a lot of this country she wants to see. So we have kind of a unique American-Russian perspective on travel and the things that we want to see, and we do make quite the interesting couple. So hopefully you want to go ahead and subscribe and follow us on our camping adventures and journeys. And if you like fast cars, I got several fast American muscle cars, so maybe one of those two things will entice you to go and hit the subscribe button. Go ahead, like this, share it. I'd love to hear from Kara and Nate. Hopefully subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and give me your time.